Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of FTB Skies Expert. In this episode, we do a ton with Mekanism to upgrade our diesel generators and increase our stress network capacity. We also start to work on upgrading our cabling. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Alright, folks, so a couple of things that I want to go over really quickly is some changes to some infrastructure things. The first being over here. You can see this setup right here. I added 3 more mechanical squeezers, and our power from that one node can't really keep up, but it's enough power to at least get these to function and whatnot. So yeah, I also switched over to blaze powder instead of netherrack because it was taking way too long. As you can see, we're almost at our quest goal of 10,000 buckets of lava. But I started using a lot of these logistical sorters in some of the basic Mekanism uses them and whatnot. It makes it pretty easy to get them going. They're not very expensive at all. So yeah, what's nice about these is that you can have them do things like round robin and whatnot, and this allows the items to be sent to different inventories instead of just filling up the first one and then not really doing anything with the other ones. So yeah, you're also probably wondering how we're getting the blaze powder for that. And if we pop down here real quick, I have this array set up here with basically us getting crushed netherrack from this material generator that I upgraded all the way. As you can see, it only took me, a couple of diamonds and some obsidian, which we have plenty of right now. And I have the second logistical sorter here. You can see that just has a filter for the siftable items and whatnot, and I have it round robining again and whatnot. Something interesting over here is that these brass filters or brass sifters that I'm using, you can filter out the different items. So I have this filtering for blaze powder and whatnot, and so only blaze powder should come out of these, and they also filter a lot faster than the base sifters. They filter maybe like 8 or 16 items at a time and whatnot, so that makes things pretty interesting overall. I have these other two over here just for regular output stuff and whatnot, just so that way we can collect some of the other drops, and this all goes into this storage controller, which is linked up to these drawers and whatnot. And then, yeah. And then I have this pedestal here that's then linked up to the top there, which allows for the blaze powder to be transported and everything. Yeah. So it's not really, that big of a change, just added a couple extra things. And like I said, we're pretty close to hitting our goal of that, that item. I'm going to grab this guy real quick. And the second thing that we did is going to be over here, right? And it's pertaining to our sifting setup. I made things a little bit better and whatnot. I have just the items pumping in. I'm just using the left 2 chests for the moment. I don't really have a use for the right 2 just because we're not making enough materials to utilize them. But you can see that this is going into this controller right here, and this controller then stores all these items in these drawers, which allows us to have kind of a bulk setup for all this stuff and whatnot. So yeah. But if we pop down over here, you can see that I have another logistical sorter up there connected to the controller. And basically what I have this doing is I have the filter set for the raw materials, and it allows only the ores that are going to be smelted to be sent to our smelting setup, which makes things really nice and convenient. I'm using this chest over here as a buffer, and eventually they all come into this storage controller, which has these compacting drawers that keep them stored in, various states, whether it be blocks or ingots or nuggets or whatnot. And this is just to help with more bulk storage. But the neat part about all this is that I have both of these storage controllers hooked up to our storage lectern. So that way we're able to access, you know, all the items from back here and also down below. And this allows us to like use these like diamonds and whatnot and the rest of the stuff basically. So yeah, it's pretty neat and kind of a bulk storage setup and whatnot. I mean, eventually we'll get better storage and everything, but it's not the end all be all. And this right here is how we're supplying our sifters with the different materials. So on the left side here, his job is to only make gravel to then get sent into a storage controller. I kind of have this here as an item buffer, so that way in case we ever, you know, build up an overflow, we'll have extra or whatnot. So far we haven't needed to use it and everything, but on the right side here we have three auto hammers that are basically just making dust. And if we look inside the logistical sorter, I have the dust set on a blue filter and the gravel set on a green filter, right? And the cool part about this is that if we pop one up here, you can see that on the green channel, you know, that gravel's only going into the green channel and then dust is only going into the blue channel. This is another really cool part of the logistical sorter and what it's capable of, but you can see the items have little outlines on them as they're kind of just moving through the main pipe, and it's pretty neat overall. But yeah, that's basically all we did in between episodes. So what I want to do now is kind of get started on some Mekanism stuff. And the first part of that is to be getting a lot of this infused alloy and whatnot. And this is done in our metallurgic infuser with redstone and signalum plating, right? And so I'd like to come down here and enrich some of our redstone so that way we get more use out of, you know, the redstone that we have, because we don't have a ton right now. We just have some and whatnot. But they're not too difficult to make. I also made this into an enriching factory with this basic tier installer. It's not too hard to make. We've made them before for some of our other machines and whatnot, but that's all the components for that. So we'll get some of these alloy or some of this enriched redstone going for our alloy, so that way we can have it functioning and whatnot. And we'll grab some of that out of there and then throw it into our infusing factory with our signalum plates, and that'll get these started into our infused alloy, which is what we need for more of the machines. Yeah. I'm gonna keep pumping these in here because we need a lot of these infused alloy for what we're gonna be doing. But by enriching the redstone, you know, a little bit of redstone goes a long way, and it makes it a lot more useful for us and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna pop over here real quick and grab these basic control circuits that I was crafting up in between episodes, and also this redstone glass. But while this is going, we're going to go upstairs and we're going to start crafting some of the stuff we need. And the first thing that we're going to be making here is some rotary condensators, and I think I'm going to make 2 of them. So I'm going to get all the materials here necessary for that, being the fluid tanks, and then we're also going to need some of the gas tanks and whatnot. And luckily for us, they let us use aluminum plating to make them instead of using the 4 osmium like by default, because right now osmium is pretty hard for us to get. So I'm just going to throw some of this tin plating in here and fight this mimic for the time being. Yeah. And now that should be some of those done. So we'll grab those out of there and head back over to our crafting, where we're going to make now these tanks, 2 of them to be precise, and then we will make our 2 rotary condensators, like so. We just have to swap that tank out, and 1 more. All right. So the next thing I want to make is the electrolytic separator. And to do this, we're going to need a couple of things. The main thing being some of this dust here. And I have some aluminum grit that I was prepping in between episodes with this guy over here, as you can see here. And I think all we need now is, yeah, some iron dust. So I'm going to quickly pop over and give this to our guy, so that way he can do what he needs to do and crush that up. It shouldn't take too long because, you know, he crushes pretty efficiently and whatnot. So we'll wait for that, grab that, and now we'll head back on over to where we are crafting the electrolytic separator. And there is that component. And now we need the chemical oxidizer, which needs this personal chest from Mekanism and another one of those basic chemical tanks. So we'll craft that up real quick. And then we will have the chemical oxidizer. Now, we also need a pressurized reaction chamber. So to make one of those, I'm going to need an enrichment chamber. So we'll make one of those real quick. And we're also going to need more of these basic tanks. So we'll craft those up. And I forgot to craft the enrichment chamber, so we'll do that real quick. Like so. And we're going to need more of these electron tubes. So I'll craft some of them. We'll craft some extra, just so we have them in the system and whatnot. And we will grab that enrichment chamber. And then finally, our pressurized reaction chamber, which we're just going to need some steel plates, which we have plenty of over here, because I've been crafting up a ton of them in between episodes and whatnot. And yeah, we'll throw those plates in there and then finally make our pressurized reaction chamber. Sweet. Now, all we're going to need is to go down here and hook some of these up to some power, right? And the way we're going to go about doing this is I'm trying to get the Signalum processor, right? Which needs a couple of things, but the main thing is this printed silicone, right? Which needs this chlorine, right? Which, to get the chlorine, we need to have the electrolytic separator separate brine, right? And the way we get brine is from taking this gaseous brine, which we get from the chemical oxidizer, right? When we oxidize the salt. Now, we do have some salt, so I'm going to go upstairs and grab it real quick. This is from you get the salt from waterlogged sand sifting over here, which we've done quite a bit of and everything, so it's not really that big of a deal. But it's pretty easy to get and obtain. So we'll throw this in the chemical oxidizer to get our gaseous brine, and then condensate that with everything that we need to get the chlorine. So yeah, so I'm gonna pull a cable over the top here, like so, and this is kind of just for demonstration purposes and whatnot until we have it set up a little bit better. But let's see, we'll make sure that this is getting power now, and we will place the chemical oxidizer down, and then we'll throw the salt in here, and then hopefully this should now be turning this into gaseous brine, which it is. So we'll directly pump that into a rotary condensator, and we will see that the gaseous brine is starting to turn into the liquid brine and whatnot. And from this, we then use it in the electrolytic separator. So that will be the next machine that we place down right there. And we'll pump him down, and we need to give him some power real quick. So we'll pop a flux duct on top and break you. And as you can see, we're now starting to get some chlorine, which is very nice, and everything like that. And then we are now going to put you into our pressurized reaction chamber with some polyethylene, and this will then allow us to make our silicone circuit and whatnot. So really quickly, I'm going to grab the polyethylene that we have over here. I don't think we have any in the system, but I do think I have some downstairs below, so we're going to grab a tank to get that and everything. So we'll do that for the time being. And when we do so, we're going to come over here, look for it. Yep, grab our liquid ethylene so we can maybe make some more. And yeah, there's our polyethylene. So we'll pop down the empty tank right there and throw some liquid ethylene in there. And also for the time being, we're going to get some more latex. That way we can have more of a back stock of polyethylene. That way we're not worrying about running out and whatnot. So yeah, that's another thing that we're doing here. We'll just grab some out of this tank. It's a dynamic tank. We have a ton in there right now. So we'll let that fill up. And yeah, pop that into our fluid mixer and have that craft up some more polyethylene for us. And we'll just grab this one for the time being. And we'll take it over to our pressurized reaction chamber and see if we can get some stuff going. It appears that I can't bucket you into here, so I'm probably going to have to fluid pipe it in. So we'll try that, and yeah, made a mess here. So we'll pick this up, and now I'm going to probably go get some mechanical pipes and figure out how to just, you know, put this into here and everything. So I'll place you down over here, and wonder if I can use the inputs to input it in and out. And it doesn't appear that I can. So that's all right. So we'll give you some power, and yeah, I'm gonna go get some fluid pipes for the time being, so that way we can, you know, make this better. And also, I made the fluid pipes and have the polyethylene pumping in, but I just made this gauge dropper. And this is kind of nice to have because, as you can see here, we had the liquid sodium that went back into our electrolytic separator, which is what we don't want, right? So it's really important to check the inputs and outputs of all these machines and whatnot, so that way you don't have stuff accidentally pumping back into it when you set them up like this. But if we just grab this gauge dropper here, we can just pick this liquid up out of here, and then we can shift right click to get rid of it all, which is really nice for, you know, just moving around these fluids and gases and whatnot. It makes life a lot easier. But now we just need to grab a piece of silicone from our system, which we already have a ton that I've crafted up previously. And we will then throw you into the PRC and wait for our thing. Now, we don't have enough energy here to do this, so we need to go and get some energy upgrades for our PRC here. So I'm going to go do that real quick. And as you can see, the energy upgrades aren't too difficult to craft. But osmium dust is like the main thing that we don't have right now, just because it's a little difficult to obtain. But we'll head back up and we'll make some energy upgrades. And we actually already have 2 in the system that we must have gotten from a quest or something. So I'm going to go down here and then just pop these into our system, because hopefully it'll be enough to let it operate. And yeah, it is. You can see that our silicone is slowly but surely being transformed, and you know, eventually we'll probably get more energy upgrades for this, but for the time being, this is all right. This isn't really a big deal. And yeah, so this is for the advanced control circuit, which we're hopefully going to be able to make. But I also want to make some of these universal cables, because these are really nice power cables from Mekanism and whatever, and they're a little bit better than our flux ducts. So I'm going to quickly run over here and grab some of our Certus quartz dust. And we already have flux ducts, and we have the infused alloy. So that's pretty much all we need to go down here. So we're going to pop on over to the induction smelter, and throw in these guys here, like so, and they'll slowly start crafting up into our basic universal cables. If we pop over here, our printed silicone is done for the time being, and now all we have to do is throw it into our pneumatic craft pressurized chamber with some Signalum and a basic control circuit, right? And it's only one Signalum. So we'll throw all those items in real quick, like so. And now we will just wait for them to combine. Hopefully it has enough pressure. I believe if we check real quick that the Signalum processor, yeah, it only needs 2.5 bars, and yeah, look at that. It's already done. So that's very nice. Now, if we take this and combine it with some volatile redstone inside of our fluid encapsulator, this will allow us to turn it into the advanced circuit that we need. So we'll do that real quick, and as you can see, it's going ahead and going. I'm not sure if it's quite moving or not, so we'll check this recipe real quick. And yeah, it appears to be going, so that's good. That's good. The reason I wanted this, though, this advanced control circuit, has to do with our diesel generators and whatnot. And you'll see this in a moment when I finally get this. All right, there we go. That's our advanced control circuit. And really quickly, I'm going to grab our diesel generators here. And actually, can I wrench these items? I think I can, because I think that'll allow me to pick them up pretty easy. Yeah, like this. So we're going to pop up to our crafting table and use 8 of these guys and the advanced circuit to then create an advanced diesel generator, right? And this thing's pretty cool because it doesn't increase the overall stress capacity or anything with just this one block by doing that, but it allows for all 8 of those to be in one block, so it's a little bit more compact and everything. And I've realized that now the system is disconnected, so I need to make sure and connect it up. So I'm going to go grab some shafts so that way the rest of our stuff on the other side can keep running, because without that, it's going to make things not work over there. So we'll grab some extra shafts, pop one back down, and then we'll pull this over here and hook you up like so, right? Now, the next thing I'm going to probably get started working on is liquid oxygen, right? And if we look at the crafting recipe for this, we can see that this is done by condensating oxygen gas, right? So this is why we made 2 rotary condensators and whatnot. And we can get this from just the gaseous oxygen from using the electrolytic separator with water, right? It gives us hydrogen and oxygen, which is what they are. So I'm going to actually pick up this guy real quick so we can use him in a different place and whatnot. And we will probably decide on coming up over here, if I had to guess, but we're going to craft a few things first. The main thing being probably the aqueous accumulator from thermal, just so we can get some easy water in there. And then we'll use some fluid transporters as well. We got to grab 2 buckets of water so that way we can have it on either side of that. So we'll grab these 2 buckets of water real quick and hop one back down to where we're going, just so we can utilize this in the proper way. But yeah, we'll grab some of these universal cables out that we can use now. And I'll probably break this connection here. And we'll run some cables out like so. And we'll probably start by placing this aqueous accumulator, right? So we'll dig out here, place you down, water bucket on either side, and then pumping all that into our electrolytic separator. So that way it's getting the water that it needs. And as we can see, we have some sodium left over in there, so we'll grab that out real quick with the gauge dropper and whatnot. And yeah, we got hydrogen being produced and oxygen being produced as well. And then we'll pump the oxygen into the rotary condensator. Liquid oxygen, which is what we were trying to obtain and whatnot. And we'll just really quickly take some mechanical pipes and pump that into our advanced diesel generator like so. And as you can see, the stress capacity on it has greatly increased, right? I'm not exactly sure by how much it increases, but we can look in here and see that if we go over to the biodiesel, the force infused biodiesel, that the stress capacity is multiplied by 768 times. So a pretty big jump in stress capacity overall, right? And yeah, so yeah, folks, that's probably where I'm going to wrap things up for today. As always, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And let me know what you want to see in the next episode. We're probably going to be doing some interesting things with some Botania and whatnot and everything. And once again, I'm very sorry for this scuffed audio voiceover thing and whatnot. I really wish the audio wouldn't have messed up, but I tried my best. I've done a couple of takes of this, so this is probably the best it's going to be for this episode, but it probably sounds a lot better than what the audio sounded like without it. It was pretty atrocious. So yeah, guys, as always though, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and I'll see you later. Peace.